it's what's the composition of matcha. Matcha is green tea that is, before it's ready for harvest, is grown under a shade. It changes its chemical structure, natural chemical structure a little bit, so it's got a lot of potency to it. And what happens with matcha is they take the tea leaf, they take out the stem of the green tea leaf, and they ground up the actual leaf into a powder. Now, what's in that green tea leaf? You've got not just some of the polyphenols that might steep out in the cup, whether you're using a tea bag or loose leaf tea, you're getting all the polyphenols suspended in there. So now you get 100% polyphenol, okay, in matcha. So go ahead and do it. That one's good. All right, okay, for matcha. And because you're getting the tea leaf ground, you're also getting your dietary fiber. Now, dietary fiber is good for your gut health, your microbiome, good for your metabolism, good for lowering inflammation. And the polyphenols found in green tea have also been, matcha tea, have also been found in the lab to kill breast cancer stem cells. What's a breast cancer stem cell? What's a cancer stem cell? Well, look, stem cells are these renewable cells, all right? And cancers contain stem cells that help the cancers come back, right? If you get cancer, you get it treated. One thing you don't want it to do is to come back. So, and by the way, other foods can also kill cancer stem cells. Purple potatoes that you might have seen in the market, they're kind of purpley looking on the outside. Slice it open, dark purple on the inside. All right. Turns out that those purple potatoes have something called anthocyanins. Purple potatoes have been studied in a lab, okay, at Penn State University, and it's been shown to kill colon cancer stem cells, which contribute to the colon cancer coming back.
So full disclaimer, I made a very, very big investment, a seven-figure investment into a matcha company years ago. And if you look at the search trend data on the subject of matcha, I don't know if you've seen this, but I'll throw it up on the screen for anyone that's watching the video, but you can see how it's just come out of nowhere, it seems, it's exploded. And when you say that matcha cells have an impact on breast cancer cells, what does that mean in reality? Does it, because obviously the conclusion one might jump to is that if you drink matcha, you're lowering the risk of breast cancer. But that's not necessarily what you're saying.
What I am saying is that drinking green tea in its most healthful form, okay, raises your body's health defense systems.
Yeah.
And by having a better health defense system, better immunity, better control over your blood vessels, better control over your DNA and those mutations, and if you can actually kill some of those stem cells, cancer stem cells, that's going to be in your favor as well. That is overall going to actually lower your risk of cancer. And so I think that, and by the way, the other thing that green tea and matcha can actually do is improve your metabolism. It's really pretty much all good. My great uncle, by the way, lived to 104 years old. Vital, intact, independent. He told me that he attributed his longevity and his vitality to the fact that he lived at the base of a mountain that grew tea. But every morning he got up and he walked up stone steps, a stone path to a tea garden, and he had freshly picked tea, all organically grown and everything. And he drank tea all day long. He probably had 10 cups of green tea a day. This has been his whole life. He sat with his close friends who are also very vibrant and elderly. Social connection, all right? Watch the sunrise, very calming.
You drink it?
Absolutely.
I've got just going up the thread again a little bit. You mentioned the word colorectal. Where is the colorectal?
All right. So we have a little model here.
I'm asking this because I'm wondering why that type of cancer is increasing. So is there a particular reason why?
Well, okay. So let's do a quick medical school crash course for podcasters. The gut. We talk about gut health. Most people think of the gut as sort of lower down in your belly or maybe even just your stomach. But the gut actually starts in your mouth and it runs down, about 40 feet worth of stuff, organs, your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestines, your large intestines. By the way, these squigglies are your small intestines, right? This blue is your large intestines. This is like it's shaped like a horseshoe, It's big, thick tube that's kind of framing your small intestines, and then it goes down the poop chute, the rectum, the anus. That's the end of your gut. All right. So the colon is really the large, framing, thick part of the gut. It's near the very end. All right. So all the squiggly small intestines lines up here. At the beginning of the colon goes up, called the ascending colon, and then it makes a sharp angle turn right across your belly, kind of like a belt, right across your belly. It's a colon here, and then it goes to the descending colon. Take the elevator down, 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 down. You see the blue down, it's going down, and then it kind of takes a little jog at the very end. It goes down into your rectum. Okay.
So the key thing is, this is where cancer incidence is rising in young people.
So we're talking about the rising this the colorectal cancer. That could be a cancer that's typically either on the right side of the colon, either they going up the upside up the elevator, or down the elevator on the right side and the left side.
Okay.
Okay. It turns out that we've known for a long time that unhealthy diets are linked to a higher risk of colorectal cancer, specifically processed meats. So the World Health Organization considers processed meats, salami, bologna, ultra processed, kind of deli meats, delicatessen meats you find in delicatessen. All right, those would be considered carcinogens, and they are highly linked to an increased risk of bowel cancers. Now, why would that be? Well, it turns out, if you think about it, if you're eating a ton of meat, all right, you're actually exposing the gut to a lot of those processed meat carcinogens that when it sits around your colon, not once in a while, go to the ball game, have a hot dog, enjoy yourself, but if you eat it day in and day out, you're getting a lot of exposure to your gut.
This term, angiogenesis, talked about the link that has to cancer. Angiogenesis, from my novice understanding, is how blood cells provide blood to different parts of our body, right? And in the case of cancer, there's this, the angiogenesis system is making a mistake. Is that simplified version of it?
Yeah, so angiogenesis, which is a field I study, we break it down to what its elemental parts. Angio, blood vessel. Genesis, how the body grows and maintains them. So angiogenesis is how our body grows and maintains our circulation.
Oh my God,
People
man.
don't know this, but our circulation is one of our body's self-defense systems, and it's so extensive that in a typical adult, there are 60,000 miles worth of blood vessels packed inside our body. These are the highways and byways that deliver blood to every organ and tissue. But that means that they also deliver the air we breathe, the oxygen we're breathing in, and the nutrients that we're eating. So we eat good things that are going into our bloodstream, and our blood vessels, our angiogenesis system delivering to every cell in the body. Now you eat something bad, similarly, or you breathe something similarly, those blood vessels are delivering something negative. Now, inside the blood vessels is a lining. It's called the lining is like a clear, like a plastic wrap inside the blood vessel called the endothelial layer. That's like a layer of ice, like on an ice skating rink, to ensure that everything in the blood vessels are flowing smoothly without getting caught on the walls. So when you have cardiovascular disease, too much salt, wearing down the lining of the blood vessels, endothelial layers being damaged. It's like damaging the lining of your angiogenesis defense system has really deadly consequences because it's like scraping up ice on an ice skating rink. If you actually have a lot of ice skaters on a rink, after a while, it's unskateable, right? You can't get on it. And what will happen in your bloodstream is then elements in your blood get caught along the walls and they build up. And that's actually how blood vessels narrow up. So that's one of the areas of so angiogenesis actually is intended to deliver oxygen and nutrients to the tissues that need it to maintain your health. But because it's so critical, it's also very, very carefully controlled so you don't have blood vessels growing where they should not be growing, like in your joints, in your eyes, or of course the cancer. You definitely don't want to be feeding cancers by delivering oxygen and nutrients to them.
I've got this graph which shows different things that cause more or less angiogenesis. You see this graph?
Okay, so you are showing a graph that I generated, my organization generated. And this is actually, you're looking at the experiment that got me into food dispense. Let me explain to you the experiment. I'll just put it over here. So we were studying at one point drugs. We're trying to discover drugs that could be developed as cancer treatments. So what we were looking for are drugs that could cut off the blood supply to tumors. So we were screening lots of chemicals that biotech companies were developing and inventing, and professors were inventing, and saying, hey, can you take a look to see this could be a worthwhile drug that could cut off the blood supply to a tumor as a cancer treatment? And at the time we didn't have such treatments, so it was all discovery. Like this was, you know, like the golden age of discovery when it came to angiogenesis, when testing. Oh my gosh, this is good. We stop blood vessels. Could we develop this into a cancer treatment? Ultimately, yes. The answer was yes. But we were looking for it. And so we developed a system where we could add a substance into a laboratory test system to see if blood vessels would grow or shrink. And so here on this graph, you can see at the very top, a very long bar of blood vessels growing. That's normal, healthy blood vessels growing out as long as they can. And then what we would do is we'd throw drugs into it, and we would see if we could actually shrink them up. And so some of the shorter bars are cancer drugs. You can see them in this color in blue. Not surprisingly, some of the cancer drugs were making the blood vessels smaller. Hey, this would be a good candidate drug. And we were also testing other drugs that were available, not used for cancer, to see if they would work. Sure, we discovered some of those too. But I did something a little bit subversive, and as you know, if you want to be disruptive, you got to sometimes disrupt yourself in order to be able to do this. So this is like our experiment that we were doing at the Angiogenesis Foundation. We decided to disrupt ourselves. So we said, we have a whole system of drugs to test. Let's remove half of them, and let's swap them out with powders that came from food. All right, just to see what would happen. And when we actually tested foods in the same system used to develop drugs, food as medicine, tested in the same system that medicines are developed, we found what you see on this bar chart in red. We actually found that dietary factors, stuff that's found in food, would actually cut down the blood supply that would be growing to feed a cancer. In other words, it's anti-angiogenic foods. You can see the green tea, you can see the onions and garlic and red grapes and strawberries. It was really an eye-opener to me. When I saw these results, it made my jaw drop. And I said, my God, foods have potency just like drugs. And I'm a skeptic, all right? And it just made me realize that this is something that I had to pursue. This was an area of research that I absolutely had to actually look further into. A drug takes a decade and $1 billion or more to be able to develop from scratch to reaching a patient, and then not everyone who needs a treatment can actually get the drug, but a food has immediacy. You discover something amazing about a food, whether it's matcha, whether it's purple potatoes, whether it's the strawberry, that immediacy could be used beneficially without toxicity, all right, and affordably. And so I just saw this as this experiment is what brought me into the realm of food dispense.
So I'm going to ask some stupid questions here. So on here I can see that, for example, soy extract causes less angiogenesis, which
Yes.
what I understand is the growth of these blood vessels. But does that mean that if I have lots of soy extract or artichoke or parsley or berries, that it's going to cause other parts of my body not to grow blood cells?
So this is the great question. Let me kind of reframe the question as you're asking. If experiments are able to show that certain foods can prevent blood vessels from growing, will that actually cause a problem with your body's health defenses to keep blood vessels from growing in healthy tissues? All right? The answer is no, and here's why. As a health defense system, our angiogenesis system is completely designed to yoke in the right number of blood vessels to give just the right amount of movement. Not too much, not too little. I call it the Goldilocks zone. You know, Goldilocks the fairy tale. The bears were home invaders that broke into that house. They were looking for chairs and porridge and beds. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. All of our health defenses, including angiogenesis health defense, is hardwired to keep the body just right. So, what that means is that eating foods like artichokes or strawberries or soy can actually help your body prevent extra blood vessels from growing towards cancer, for example, and other disease tissues, but it will not override the body's natural ability to get the right amount of blood vessels to the right tissue. So you don't have to worry about starving your healthy tissues, you're just cutting off the bad blood vessels. I call it like a landscaper on a golf course that breaks out the lawnmower to mow that the golf course so that it's got a perfect level of the lawn. You're not going to actually carve out a bald spot in a country club. You're going to get just the right amount. Similarly, and we're not talking about this graph, there's another graph that can actually show foods that you can eat that can grow blood vessels, healthy blood vessels, where you want them. And it turns out things like fruit peel can actually do that, and barley can grow new blood vessels, and dark chocolate can actually help support blood vessels as well. And some of these things can also work on both sides of the equation. They can clean away the bad for extra blood vessels, and they can grow them whenever you need them. So your body is sort of like the gardener extraordinaire. It knows exactly how to actually tend. You give them the right ingredients, they know exactly where to put the grass seed, and they know exactly where to mow the lawn.
Have you ever had cancer in your family?
Yes. Cancer has touched my family like it has for most people. I had two uncles years ago that passed away. One passed away from colon cancer, one passed away from liver cancer. I was a doctor at the time, and so I felt so helpless because